Novak, congratulations. Can you just take us through, you said on the court, last 4 to 5 weeks, what it's been like for you?
Yeah. Well, just a huge pride and satisfaction that I feel at the moment, of course. When I went into my box, I just think emotionally collapsed there, and teared up with especially my mother and my brother when I gave them a hug, because up to that moment I was not allowing myself to I guess be distracted with things off the court or whatever was happening, and dealing with an injury and things happening off the court as well that could easily been a big disturbance to my focus, to my game, and it required an enormous mental energy, really to stay present, to stay focused, to take things day by day, and really see how far it can go. I mean, if I turn back the time 2.5 weeks ago, I wasn't really liking my chance in this tournament with the way I felt with my leg, and then it was just a matter of survival of every single match and just trying to take it to the next round. The good thing about the Grand Slam here is that you have a day between the matches, so it allowed me to have more time than normally on some other tournaments to recover, to try to do all the treatments in order to get myself in a somewhat of a good state and condition to play and eventually win. So from 4th round onwards, I feel like leg was not bothering me as much. I felt my movement was much better, and I played some of my best tennis, honestly, in Australian Open. The 4th round, quarterfinals, semifinals, just really comfortable on the court, hitting the ball great. And I knew that against Stefanos it's going to be a different match than what I had throughout the entire tournament. So I saw him play. I saw how dominant he was as well. And I knew that it's going to be a big challenge and that I have to stay tough. And that's what I've done. I think I started off really well. Pretty short time for the play of the first set, I think about 30-35 minutes. And then second set, he was a better player. He had his chances, didn't use them. He had a set point. I just held my nerves in both tie breaks on second and third. And it was a huge relief and release of the emotions in the end. Just difficult to find any additional words, really. It's been a long journey, but a very, very special one.
Novak, in the second set, there were quite a lot of words and looks between yourself and, I think, Goran. I just wonder what was happening there.
No, it was Goran and other members of my team. Just a normal chatter that we would normally have in the court, where I was not comfortable and was looking for some help and some advices, some guidance. That's all it is. Obviously, on the court, difficult to explain to people that have not been in these situations, what you go through. So, of course, I know that, as I said on the ceremony, they tolerate a lot of things that I do to them, say to them, and I'm really grateful to have their presence and their support and just the way they are, because if I'm in the box and a guy is doing that to me, I'll probably act differently.
Novak, congratulations. You talked about the emotions at the end there. How much of that was what happened last year, coming back here, the injury, other off-court stuff, and was it a combination of everything? It is. Coming into Australia was something I was looking forward to, because I said it before, and I honestly feel great in Australia, and my results are testament to that. So I really
wanted to be back here. I wanted to play, and knowing my records in Australian Open, I always liked my chances, and I ended up the last season in the best possible way. I played great, so I did a great preparation. Of course, considering last year's event, I was a bit more nervous coming into Australia. Didn't know how I'm going to be received and by the people. But I mean, overall, it was a very positive experience. Again, I wouldn't be able to do what I did in Adelaide and here if I wasn't feeling good, on and off the court. Of course, there were things that were happening, also the events of last few days, with my father, that were not easy for me to handle, especially at these stages of last stages of a Grand Slam. But I had to keep it together. That's why I said answering the first question, that it took enormous amount of mental and emotional energy to really keep it tight, keep my focus. And people around me who have been with me have done a great job in making me do my routines in a proper way so that I could, try to perform the best way possible.
Yeah. Well done, Novak. You've spoken in the past very openly about being motivated by history, and we think now of the duel with Rafa in particular, now that you both got 22 slams. Are you also motivated by trying to finish your career with more Grand Slams than anybody, and by that I mean Serena and also Margaret Court?
Well, of course I am motivated to win as many slams as possible, at this stage of my career. These trophies are the biggest motivational factor of why I still compete, so that's the case, without a doubt. I never really liked comparing myself to others, but of course it's a privilege to be part of the discussion of, as one of the greatest players of all time. And if people see me this way, of course, it's very flattering, because I know that I give as much as effort and energy into trying to, to win slams as anybody else. And I still have lots of motivation. Let's see how far it takes me. I really don't want to stop here. I don't have intention to stop here. I feel great about my tennis. I know that when I'm feeling good, physically, mentally present, that I have a chance to win any slam against anybody. So I like my chances going forward. But again, nothing is given or nothing is for granted. I've, of course, awareness that there's a lot of players that want this trophy or want the number one position in the world. But I've been so many times in these situations that experience and just, I guess, being in those circumstances, in those shoes, helps me always to kind of keep my mind fresh and know what's expecting me. I don't know how many more years I'm going to play, or how many more slams I'm going to play. It depends on various things. It doesn't depend only on my body. I think it's extremely important for me to be, of course, first to have a support and love from the close ones, and ability to go and play and keep the balance with the private life, but at the same time have the mental clarity, or how should I say, aspirations to really strive to chase these trophies. Because physically I can keep myself fit. Of course 35 is not 25, even though I want to believe it is. But I still feel there is time ahead of me, and let's see how far I go.
When the match ended, you looked at your box and you pointed to a few different places. I'm curious, can you talk? Can you?
Yeah,
what were you trying to say?
What do you want me to say? You've seen it all. I mean, it's a little code language we have, you know. They understand. It's it takes big heart and of course a lot of mental strength and the third thing as well to make it.
Gordon.
Novak, what have you learned? Have you learned anything about yourself over the last fortnight, on the court but also off the court? And your level of tennis, where does it sit compared to, say, the semi-final in 2016 against Federer, for example?
Well, in terms of learning about myself, you know, I always try to take away some, you know, important professional tennis lessons, but also life lessons, you know, about my character, about my experience, about everything that I went through on and off the court. So I need some time, I need some space to reflect on that. It's hard to talk about it right now because it's so fresh. In terms of the quality of the tennis, it's honestly some of the best tennis I've played on this court. As good as I've played maybe 2011 or 15 or 16 or those years where I've really had some very strong seasons and strong Australian Opens. This is, I would rank it right up there, maybe top 2, 3 of all time of performances on slams in general, particularly here.
Howard.
You joked about 35 and 25, but I'm wondering what significance it has to you at this age to both still be winning these things and also now to get to return to number one, and what significance that shows for you about your standing in the game at this stage.
Well, even more than probably 10 years ago, because you don't know, you never know how much more time you have left. So of course, you know, I nurture and celebrate these moments of becoming number one again and Grand Slam champion even more than I have maybe ever in my career. So I don't take it for granted. As I said, you know, it's just so fresh. I mean, I just came off the court, so of course I have to reflect and sleep over a few nights and just realize what I've been through with my team. And of course it makes me incredibly proud, but it also is a huge relief because, you know, it hasn't been smooth sailing, so to say, you know, on and off the court in the last 3-4 weeks. So, but that makes this victory even more special.
Last couple in English, Mark, and then behind.
Novak, congratulations. You touched on a couple of nights ago that you hoped your dad would be in the stands for tonight's final. Now that obviously didn't happen. Can you explain why he didn't end up sitting in the stands, and also how special it was to see him after you left the court underneath Melbourne Park?
Yes, we talked, and I thought that the things will calm down in terms of media and everything, but it didn't. So we both agreed that it would probably be better that he's not there. That hurts him and me a lot because, you know, these are very special, unique moments that, you know, who knows if they repeat again. So it was not easy for him, and I saw him after the match, of course, and he was not feeling his best, let's say, even though he was very happy to hug me and, of course, with everything, but I could see that he's a bit sad. But look, it is what it is. I think in the end, also what he told me is that it's important that I feel good on the court, that I win a match, and he's here for me. And so if it's gonna be better for him or for me as an outcome of the match, so that he's not in the box, then so be it. So that was the whole conversation. And in a way, I'm also sad that he was not there, present in the stands, but he was throughout the entire tournament. So it's fine. You know, in the end, we have a happy ending.
That's one.
Congratulations, Novak. So you mentioned on the court that how you and Stefanos represent smaller countries, and you've always taken representation of Serbia very seriously. So 22 slams later, how does it mean to all these histories mean to people back home?
Well, I probably don't know fully you know, how it resonates with people. I truly believe, and I hope that especially young people in Serbia find a lot of inspiration in what I do and what I have achieved, and so it motivates them to grab a racket or whatever they do, whether it's sport or any other area of life, you know, just as I said on the court in the ceremony, to dream big and to really nurture those dreams. And you know, we heard this story before, but I mean, it truly is. It's like cliche, but it is true. You know, coming from countries like Serbia and Greece, you know, in Stefanos's case, with almost zero tennis tradition and support in any shape or form for the tennis, it makes it of course far bigger challenge to reach the big heights and great heights, you know. And so you could kind of have to pave your own way, you know, and become the first in something, you know. Of course, along with your family and close people in your life and your coaches. But that makes the whole experience, you know, even more unique and gratifying. And I think for me, appreciation for everything that I have achieved in life is greater because of knowing how I started. And of Serbia and Greece, and I said it, you know, we have great relationship, you know, historically between the countries. And so, you know, as I have with Stefanos personally, of course, we are great rivals, but we had some nice words for each other on the court, and I think it's important. It's important to be kind and respectful in those moments, regardless of the score. You know, you want to win without a doubt. Everybody knows that. You are, you know, fierce competitor, but you should always have some respectful words for your opponent and understanding of what he goes through, because, you know, you can relate to a lot of the things that your peers are going through, and because you know how tough it is.